So I had a Muslim bring up the Crusades the other day. And they brought it up because I was talking about how different Muslims are around the world taking lives of Christians. So they said, look what Christians did before, not even realizing that this happened because Muslims.
But here's a fun fact. The Crusades happened because of Islam, because Islam is not a religion of peace. The first crusade began in 1095, but it wasn't because Christians were looking to pick a fight with their neighbors and baptize the whole face of the planet. The first crusade was called only after 4 centuries of Muslim aggression. The first crusade was called 460 years after the first Christian city was overrun by Muslim armies. 457 years after Jerusalem was conquered by Muslims. 453 years after Egypt was taken. 443 years after Italy was plundered, 427 years after Muslims first laid siege to the Christian capital of Constantinople, 380 years after Muslims conquered Spain, 363 years after France was first attacked, and 249 years after the capital of Christendom, Rome itself, was sacked by a Muslim army. The First Crusade only came after centuries of church burnings, murder, enslavement, and forced conversions of Christians, all at the hands of Islam. And by the time the Crusades finally began, Muslim armies had conquered 2/3 of the Christian world. Look, if you want to keep living in your fantasy land where all religions are equal or where Islam is the victim, go ahead. But just so you know, history is repeating itself. Our nations are being invaded by millions of Muslim men of fighting age. This is a holy war, one that Islam started, indeed, one that Islam views as never having stopped in the first place. Islam is not a religion of peace. Its text, its prophet, and an enormous percentage of its adherents are hell-bent on breaking the cross, though they never will. There are 109 verses in the Quran that call Muslims to war with non-believers for the sake of Islamic rule. Some are quite graphic, with commands to chop off the heads and fingers and kill infidels. Their holy book also says that Muslims who do not join the fight are, quote, hypocrites, and are warned that Allah will send those people to hell if they don't join the slaughter.
So again, Christians, or the Christian Crusades, happen after years and years and decades and decades and decades of our brothers and sisters being tortured. So trying to point out the Crusades coming from a Muslim, it doesn't really make much sense. It's not going to benefit you in any kind of way, especially when you start digging into the truth on why it actually happened.